Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. NATO's Deputy Secretary-General Mircea Giona says it could be years before the Ukraine war is over. It comes as Kiev was targeted once more in strikes. Ukrainian officials said 2 Russian missiles had struck the capital, with a journalist at Ukraine's Radio Liberty killed in the strike. Kiev Mayor Vitaly Klitschko said Kiev remained a target for Russian forces and there was a risk of further attacks.
Kiev's still a dangerous place, and Kiev's still the target of Russians. Yes, of course, the capital of Ukraine is a goal, and they want to occupy it. They doesn't have a chance to do that, thanks for Ukrainian forces, for Ukrainian soldiers.
Meanwhile, President Volodymyr Zelensky has accused Russia of trying to humiliate the United Nations, whose president was meeting him in the Ukrainian capital at the time. Antonio Guterres called for a ceasefire and restoration of peace in Ukraine while meeting the president.
The position of the United Nations is clear. As I said in Moscow, Russia's invasion of Ukraine is a violation of its territorial integrity and of the Charter of the United Nations.
Finland's foreign minister says Sweden and Finland could deepen their military cooperation if the security situation in the Baltic Sea region deteriorates.
Concerning the processes going on, it would be very important that Finland and Sweden could make...
Pekka Haavisto and his Swedish counterpart Ann Lind told reporters during a news conference that if the security environment becomes more challenging, of course we will add bilateral planning. Russia has threatened serious consequences should Finland and Sweden decide to join NATO. Neither country has decided yet whether to apply for NATO membership. Israeli police have fired rubber bullets and stun grenades as young Palestinians threw rocks in Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque, the latest outbreak of violence at a site revered by Muslims and Jews alike. At least 12 Palestinians were injured in the early morning clashes at Islam's third holiest site. Israeli police said they intervened when hundreds of people began hurling rocks and fireworks, including in the direction of the Western Wall, where Jewish worshippers gather. There were almost daily confrontations at the mosque this month when Ramadan overlapped with the Jewish celebration of Passover, which brought hundreds of thousands of Muslims and Jews to the heavily policed compound in the Old City. A UN refugee agency report says that more than 3,000 refugees, migrants and asylum seekers died or went missing last year while trying to reach Europe via Mediterranean and Atlantic Sea routes.
More than 3,000 people have died or gone missing while attempting...
The UNHCR's Shabir Momtou told a news briefing in Geneva the 2021 figure represented nearly twice the number of lives lost in the previous year. Of the 2021 total, 1,924 people were reported dead or missing on the central and western Mediterranean routes. An additional 1,153 were reported dead or went missing on the northwest African maritime route to the Canary Islands. China's capital, Beijing, has closed more gyms, malls, cinemas and apartment blocks on Friday, with authorities ramping up contact tracing to contain a COVID-19 outbreak. It comes as there's growing anger to lockdowns in Shanghai, where people have been banging pots and pans in the evening. Some residents have been under strict lockdown for 5 weeks, and many have struggled to access food supplies. Kenyans have queued for hours to attend the memorial service for the late President Mwai Kibaki. They began streaming into the venue at dawn, and there were long queues as people lined up to enter the Nyayo National Stadium. Mr. Kibaki died last Thursday, aged 90. He was Kenya's 3rd president after independence from British colonial rule in 1963. He served 2 terms from near the end of 2002 to 2013. And the British comedian and actor turned US talk show host James Corden has announced he will be leaving the Late Late Show next year.
I've decided to sign for 1 more year on the show, and that this will be my last year.
He made the announcement during a recording of the CBS network's show in Los Angeles. Corden, best known in the UK for the TV series Gavin and Stacey, has hosted the US-based talk show since 2015. He took over the role of hosting the late-night talk show from comedian and actor Craig Ferguson in 2015. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.